Hey everybody. So, how have you guys been doing? I think a lot of people have been going through different emotions and different frequencies, different energies, and here we are going through life all logically like we've always done, and then it's like BAM! No, you can't do that anymore. That's not how we do things anymore in this energy. So, as an empath and as somebody who is pretty sensitive to the energy shift, I'm feeling these changes and I'm feeling other people going through these changes. And I am also getting new information that's kind of coinciding together through some of my BQH clients I'm seeing. And not like the same client. I'll have this client saying something that goes along with that client over there, and they don't even know each other. One can be from Mississippi and the other one can be from, Sweden. So there's some things happening, and you guys that are feeling this energy, you guys that are a little bit more sensitive, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not. I'm not, I don't think. Maybe a little, but honestly, it's kind of like being in the in-between. It's kind of like learning how to shift. We can't just go from this to that, since we've been conditioned to be this for so long, because once we take ourselves out of this and put it into this, it's too much of a shock. And I got that through a reading, and then I got through a reading. Also, it's kind of almost the same thing when they were talking about disclosure, and it's like, look, we're showing ourselves more and more and more. Take a look up. Every now and then you're going to see something new. Maybe it's a triangle like other people are talking about. Maybe it's an actual ship or an orb or some kind of lights in the sky. But people are seeing stuff. It more and more and more. And that is also part of the shift. If you went from nothing to disclosure, you're going to freak a lot of people out. You're going to, like, most people aren't heart-centered yet, is what I received in that BQH, is that those people are not heart-centered yet, and that we have to go through these movements and through these shifts, and we've had, some of us went through them earlier on, getting us used to. I've heard, I think last year, or when the big event energy information kind of was circulating, how there was first responders, and that is so still relevant in these readings, and it just means that, look, these people know what's coming, and they received an energy reading, and it might not have been exactly what we are going to experience in reality, but the energetic frequency of the information that they received, whether they received it clairvoyantly or through feelings or through meditation, however it came, is not wrong. We have to be okay with this in-between stage right now. We have to be okay with understanding that we have too much. I keep going back to conditioned knowledge, but we have too much junk that has been placed in our brains to keep us from understanding certain truths. And to go from that knowledge to this knowledge is too big of a jump for some of us. And we have to get all of us on board for that jump, because it's going to be a jump. It may not be that one big one from here to there, because we're going to, as light worker beings, as people who are learning the truth and are figuring these things out, we are going to build this bridge, this gap. We're going to fix it, and we'll still jump, because this knowledge is out there. But it's time to open our eyes and see that there is more knowledge out there. That's the case. That's what's going on right now. And there will be those out there that do not want any other knowledge to come through, and they're going to fight tooth and nail for this information not to come to pass. And that is okay for them. Let them do whatever it is that they need to do to feel validated and credited for them, because what's right for you may not be right for somebody else, and that's okay. Just because what they say is what they say doesn't mean it's right or wrong. As a matter of fact, for some reason, and I'm sure it's not a synchronicity, I'm sure that they just wanted me to mention it, but when I turned on my YouTube earlier, one of the things that popped up was about meditation and how it is the devil and that people shouldn't do it, and they're finding new studies on that it is, trying to take over your mind and controlling you, and don't silence your mind, people, because apparently an idle mind leads you to hell or something. I'm not real sure, but apparently meditation to this certain individual and some of his followers was the devil. And I understand if that isn't something for you, or maybe something happened during your meditation that made you afraid. That's okay. It's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to stop if you don't feel comfortable. Don't do it. Don't do anything that does not serve you. But don't tell other people not to do it because it didn't serve you. Because what's right for you will be wrong for somebody else, and what is wrong for you will be right for somebody else. So it's just going through these times now where we can't judge people anymore, and we can't just, you can't do that, that's not right, because it says so here or there, or it's blah 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 blah. Again, that's your opinion and that's what you think, and you have to stop judging other people when they are finding themselves. When somebody wants to meditate, to find themselves, don't knock it. And if they don't like it, then you might have something to talk about. But if they do like it, don't try to take that from them. What is that? Like, who? Because you don't feel validated, you're going to take away something that works for somebody else? Come on. But that's okay. We're not victims of these people. We just have to remember that these people can't define us, and they can't define who we are. But that is where disclosure and discernment are going to come into play. Why we are not feeling or seeing more of disclosure opening up. I'm trying to think of the right words to say, but the reason we're not seeing that happening fully yet is because there's just some people that are not ready, and you can't push somebody to something when there's so many beliefs out there that could be what some call Armageddon. We can believe that there could be entities out there that help us and want to save us, and that it's us from the future. There's so many beliefs out there that are beautiful and amazing, and I am so happy for them. And then there are beliefs out there that will take your beliefs and stomp them into the ground and say, you can't do that, you can't believe in that, because that's what Armageddon is, and that's what you're gonna go here for, or whatever. And that's, again, is something that we were taught to do so that we could be validated. And and I know that that's not other people's beliefs, but again, please just don't take away from what other people are doing. This is where your own discernment will come into play. This is where, when somebody is telling you one thing and you're experiencing a different thing, or somebody else is telling you something different and you start getting confused, this is where you take the information and you are thankful for the information that you received, and then you say, okay, I'm going to take what they said. How does it make me feel? How does my body react? What does my brain react? How does my, spiritual side react? What does this do to me? And then set it aside, and then take what somebody else is giving you, the information that they're giving you. How does it make you feel? Does it feel right listening to it, believing in it? Does it feel like it doesn't quite make much sense? Because that's what's going to happen. That's your own discernment, and that's what we have to learn to do. So being in this in-between right now is us going through conditioned thoughts, going through these little inconsistencies, these little chaotic moments that are going to start popping up in our lives, to see how we react, to see if it's a thought that we need to let go of, and build new thought around, because there is new thought. I did a reading where a client of mine is going through a divorce, and what's funny is that this client is reacting in such a beautiful way to some of the situations that have been happening to them, and conditionally, when these situations happen, you want to scream, and you want to cry, and you want to fight, and you want to curse, and you want to say, how could you do this way? How could you tell me these things? Because that is what we've seen in the past. We've seen it on TV. That's what our parents would do. That's what our siblings would do. That's what our best friends would do. They would get mad. They would, lash out. They would not say, I understand, and you have to do what you have to do, and they're doing this out of love. And they don't just automatically say, we've been married for 20 years, but don't worry, I'll accept this new person that you brought into this life, even though we are still who we are, but I'm going to accept them anyway, because guess what? That's what love would do. What? And so when I'm seeing this, and when I'm doing this reading, I'm seeing this person standing up, this really, it's an androgynous figure, and it represented my client, and I could tell, and it was holding up this bubble, but it looked really, really heavy, and this figure looked really strong, and it just looked like blackness, like almost kind of like outer space. And you could see that there was these figures just here and there holding up these orbs, these big, huge, heavy orbs. And my client was one of them, and this happened to be a very orange orb. And what I received about this information is that not only is she repairing cycles in her family of when spouses left one another and they reacted in this way, and it has caused family drama, and it has caused repercussions for years and years and years, and on to the children and their children. And there's so many cycles that this woman is changing by choosing love instead of pain. Now, don't get me wrong, she's hurt. My client's hurt, and they're going through a lot of stuff, and sometimes their days are worse, and they can't find the love as easy, and that's okay. That's beautiful. But for the most part, their vibration is high. And then I get a message from this loved one's loved one, this client's loved one, not the person that they're having the issue with, but another person in their family that asked me if I thought they were okay, because to them, they're losing it. She's not freaking out and going crazy, of course, like we all would when, this situation would occur. And I just want your thoughts. They asked me, what are your thoughts on why she's, reacting in this way? I think she's losing it. For one, I don't talk to people about them behind their backs. So that was my first response, was that I would never talk to somebody without their knowledge. And it doesn't matter how anybody goes through anything. We should just be there for them no matter what they go through and however they decide to deal with that. If they want to go crazy screaming in the streets, let them. It might make you feel better. Might disrupt the peace, but sometimes, maybe you got to do what you got to do. If, if you want to hit somebody in the face, I don't suggest that, but if that's your reaction, maybe go hit a pillow or a couch or something. But don't think it's wrong if somebody's reaction is love, because that's taking away something beautiful from somebody. Anyways, so this orb that this person was holding up in this reading was the energy of her changing these cycles in this family of how they have reacted over and over again. But not only was she repairing her family with this energy, but it was this energy that is now available because she's creating this loving energy in the most chaotic of times for somebody who's, who's been married and they just bought a house and they have kids, and you know what I mean? Like, this is a really hard time for people. And for her to react with love in the situation of how it is it's just beautiful. And by creating this energy, she has it out there and it is available for everybody to cling on to. It's the energy never dies now, right? Energy never dies. It's been created and it's always there. So now when somebody else goes through this really hard divorce or breakup or pain, whatever it is that they're going through, we can cling on to old conditioned thoughts, but we can also cling on to these new orbs that people are holding up, these new energies, these new thoughts. And that's what they told me, was that these little orbs, or these orbs that people were holding up, this new thought and this new energy. And it's out there, and we have the ability to access it anytime we want to now. So that is coming across in readings, and being heart-centered is one of, we've heard it over and over and over and over again, especially the last couple of years, to get heart-centered. They're explaining that our lower density chakras, what we hold in our root, sacral, everything is going to start building up and coming up into our hearts. And if we have conditioned thoughts on anything, it's going to be placed in our hearts, and we're going to start moving this energy up, because we are shifting up, we are ascending, we are moving upwards. So when you have a conditioned thought that's usually, let's just say you're being judged by somebody outside. You go out to school and you look cute or whatever, and you hear, or maybe you think you hear somebody judging you. Well, our first response is to stick that judgment maybe down in the root chakra, and the fight or flight response kicks in, maybe, and that's old energy of just how we would react through a certain situation. But now all of a sudden it's our hearts that are feeling something, and instead of placing energies, we're starting to place it in our hearts, and we don't really realize that that's what we're doing. It's because we're just moving things up, and that's why being heart-centered is so important. Being heart-centered will repair all of everything that you're placing there, all these dense situations that are hard to let go, that we've been conditioned to hold on to and to keep inside, because why would we ever say or talk about anything uncomfortable or do anything uncomfortable, because we were taught not to. But now we are placing everything in our hearts, and that gives us the chance to be heart-centered when we go into our meditations, or when we go outside to get grounded, or when we sit there and we do our affirmations. We go into heart-centered. We become grateful. Oh, thank you for the sky. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for my house. Thank you for my dogs. Thank you for my paper so I can write, because I love to write. Whatever we just start thanking and being grateful for, and become that very heart-centered place. I mean, when you think about the warm, fuzzy puppies look in your face and you feel good and everything feels good, that's being heart-centered. That's it. That's all you have to do, is think of something that makes you happy. Think of something that makes you feel grateful. Having a grateful heart is an open, wide heart from love, for manifestation, and that's when you're open to the universe. That's also when you heal, because if you're focused on gratefulness and love, you're automatically healing whatever's being held in your heart. So therefore, we're healing, and we don't even know now that we're holding things in our heart, but yet we've become heart-centered, because that's what we've been trained and taught to do for so long now, that we're actually healing things. So I'm getting a lot of really, really good information through BQH. Another thing, going back to the contact, the disclosure, the discernment that they were talking about as well, is they have explained that we have to be ready. We have to learn to be more heart-centered, learn that we are going through this shift, and learn that we are going through this energy and this chaos and these things, these conditioned moments, so that we may be the ones to hold up energy for the collective. This is where we are all connected comes into play. What I mean by that and what they mean by that is, if, for instance, going back to the reading where we're holding up this energy for other people, if we decide that we're going to do that, holding this energy, when we decide that we're going to do that, holding this energy, this is when you get to be connected to whoever, because there could be somebody, in China that's going through the exact same thing that you're going through, and because you're here holding that energy, they have access to it. This is what it means to be quantum. This is what it means to be spiritual. This is what it means to be multidimensional. We have energy and we hold space. That was my dog. We have energy and we hold space for everyone, everybody, and everything is connected. Why is that? Have you ever thought about why you see what you see around you? Have you ever wondered why it is you clicked on this video? What is it that you wanted to see or hear or feel? What about this resonates with you the most? You know what I mean? Because that's what your spirit wants you to know. And that is why it's being brought into your reality right now. Because once it's being brought into your reality, then it's something that you can use. It's something tangible. It is an energy that will always be there for you, for your purpose. And whatever that person in China is going through, however they go through it, let them go through it so they can hold up this energy. So from now on, the point of this, what we're going through, these little chaotic moments or these big life-changing chaotic crazies that we have to experience, or we are going through to experience, how do you react? What kind of bubble are you going to hold up for yourself, to repair yourself and all your patterns, for an energy for other people, to grab onto? What if it was, while we're all sitting in traffic, stuck, and everybody's in a bad mood, what if all it took was one person to go, let's make something out of this. There's a reason I'm stuck in traffic right now, and maybe that reason is to hold up an energy bubble to change somebody's day. And you turn on the radio and you find your happiest songs and you start dancing and you start singing and you start waving to the people stuck in traffic beside you because they're in a bad mood too. And maybe your smile makes them smile. Maybe it makes them turn on their radio. Maybe it makes them call their friends to get in a better mood. You don't know. We don't know. But that's you holding up this bubble that's available for everybody else to cling on to in traffic or in divorce or in death, in pain, in heartache, in anything at all. In, scary hospital moments and loving moments, like how, if somebody's depressed, how do you lift them up? What can you do? And when you lift them up, what energy are you holding out there for other people, to lift other people up? This is very important, this new way of looking at this energy, because when we start realizing how connected we are and how powerful we are and what we can do for other people, when we start believing in this, when we start knowing this, man, this is how we change the world, guys. This is how we do it. So keep your head up. Know that the beautiful event lights, they're coming, man. They promised, they told us the shift, these energies, everything's changing. You can feel it, you can see it, you can experience it. But sometimes it has to be done in little segments so that we don't miss it, so that we don't get scared, and so that the rest of us can catch up too. Let's hold that energy. Let's hold up an orb for people to be accepted of all of this information. Like I said, when other people don't accept us for who we are because they believe in something else, let's hold up an energy that says, you know what? They may not believe in what I believe in, but they're beautiful people still, and they love me no matter what. And those people that think that only one way is the right way, maybe an energy will start being created that they'll see that it's okay, that it may not be their way, but there can be love in all ways, because their God is very loving and very beautiful, and He can do that. He can show them real love. He can show them what truth is. All we need to do is hold that energy that it happens. I am so grateful for you guys being here, for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. All of you. Thank you so much for liking and commenting. I'm getting this information out there. I'm growing this information. I'm trying. I love every single one of you. I hope to see you all soon one day together, maybe in some spiritual retreat. Just sharing and communicating together. This is what life is about. Lots of love, lots of light. Namaste, my friends.